What's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. In today's how to unlock video, we're going to be covering the ISO Modern Warfare SMG for those of you that are free to play in Warzone. Now, I did cover this weapon in the past, however, we're on a completely new map, tons of players are always joining the game, and overall there could still be people struggling to unlock this, so I wanted to give you guys an updated version. You guys can expect me to cover some tips and tricks to make it a bit easier. We will go over the challenge so you know exactly what to do to unlock this, and I'll even give you guys a recommended loadout to best set you up for success. Now, before we dive into it, if you guys do enjoy this content at any time or find this video helpful in any way, make sure to show your support for the channel by going down below and smashing that like button. To throw a goal of 50 likes on today's video, as well as if you guys like to find your way back to the channel for more Call of Duty content, you should do hit that subscribe button alongside that notification bell so we don't miss you in future videos. Alright, in order to unlock this, you're first going to need to know what that challenge is. So if you go to where you edit your loadout, go to the SMG category, scroll down to the ISO, your challenge should be read as follows. Using SMGs, get 5 kills using a hollow optic in 7 different matches. Now, to clarify this, you will just want to make sure that you are using an optic with hollow in the name, as that will allow you to obviously get the progress you are looking for by getting the 5 eliminations. Now, when it comes to game modes, you guys are welcome to dive into any LTM or limited time mode, whether it's Caldera Clash, Rebirth Blood Money Quads, or something else. But those aren't always in the game, so I'm going to recommend something a little bit more reliable, which is going to be Plunder. Plunder also provides an additional advantage for those of you of all levels of skill, given that the matches can be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, whereas those LTM modes may be a little bit shorter, not giving you the amount of time that you need to get that progress towards your challenge. Now, as you're diving into the map called Dara, you are going to specifically want to land at the airfield. This is the place where most people go for their weapon challenges, their overall leveling up guns, or they just know it's the most popular place on the map, so they land here in order to rack up those kills. Now, this challenge is a bit more straightforward. You are specifically using a certain optic sight on an SMG and just going for elimination. So as long as you're able to find enough engagements to get the 5 eliminations that you need, this overall should not be a very difficult challenge for you to complete. I highly recommend you guys do whatever it takes to close the distance between you and the enemy. So if you are flying in and you see someone down low, maybe you try to land near them in order to obviously give yourself the best advantage in the gunfight. Or you can even, in some cases, see where somebody's already in an engagement and look to challenge a third party that, which might give you more than 1 elimination, as somebody or both players might be weak, and you can even get 1 and then also challenge the second person as well. A useful tactic, especially for those of you struggling to get these eliminations, is definitely going to be camping. You're going to want to pick somewhere highly populated, maybe camp in a corner near a doorway, as players are going to typically walk past you, giving you a higher advantage being that it is close quarters, and they're likely not going to see you before you start firing off those first shots. Now, a great place for this is the H or U-shaped building in the airfield area, as this is somewhere that a ton of players will land on the roof, go down inside, and typically camp themselves, which usually leads to finding more engagements, which will overall obviously give you a better chance of getting the 5 that you need. One thing that can absolutely give you an advantage in those close quarters gunfight will be running dead silence. This obviously gives you silent footsteps, which if you see somebody and they don't know exactly where you're at and you decide to pop that dead silence, you can then sneak up on them without them having any idea at all that you're coming, and you'll be able to actually start firing at them well before they realize that you're there. This can also be super useful for getting out of engagements that you know that you might not be able to win. You pop the dead silence, you can get away from them, and even in some cases where players are trying to third party you after you get an elimination, knowing that you're weak, you can obviously leave that engagement where they'll lose the track of the footstep sound, and you might even be able to sneak up behind them, getting an extra elimination as well. If you are feeling lucky, an option that you can take is at the beginning of the match, you can go to the end of the flight path where the AFK players might be landing, hope that there are a few people that you can take out freely without too many issues at all, or anybody else there to engage you. You may be able to get 1 or 2 free eliminations. However, this can be a negative sometimes, as it could take a while to get back to the area of engagement, which is going to be the airfield, so it's really going to depend on where the end of the flight path actually is, on whether or not this will be a viable choice. Now that we covered some tips and tricks to make this a bit easier, I've gone over the challenge with you guys so you know exactly what to do to unlock this. Let's go ahead and dive into our recommended loadout, which is one of the most important parts here, which is going to be with the PP Bison from Modern Warfare. Alright, our attachments are as follows. For the muzzle, we have that monolithic suppressor. For the barrel, I'm using the 8.7-inch steel. For the optic, we have the PBX Hollow 7 sight. Now, you can use any sight as long as it does say hollow in the name. And for the stock, we have the Corvus Skeletal stock. And then last but not least, for our magazine, we have the 84-round helical mags. All right, a couple more things I want to address before we wrap things up here. The reason I'm recommending to you guys a Modern Warfare SMG to do this is because the challenge is asking you guys to use a hollow sight on the SMG, and it may not be available to the other SMGs from the titles, whether it's Cold War or Vanguard. And also, sometimes using weapons from those will impact the tracking of the challenge, and it may not track properly, which could lead to you having to play more matches than is asked. The last thing I want to go over is whether or not you can leave the lobby once you've gotten the progress towards your challenge. So once you are confident that you got the 5 eliminations that you need, go into where you edit your loadout in game, go to the SMGs, go down to the ISO if you notice that it has tracked properly, You can then leave the match that you're in, diving into your next one, overall decreasing the amount of time it should take you to unlock this. However, if you do get the 5 eliminations that you need, you notice it doesn't track properly, I would suggest staying through to the end of the match in order to increase your odds of it counting, and then obviously that will eliminate you having to play more matches than is asked of you. Now we've covered some tips and tricks to make this a bit easier. We've gone over the challenge so you know exactly what to do to unlock this. I've even given you guys a recommended loadout to best set you up for success. That's going to wrap things up for us here. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all the support on the channel. I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.